ini. Dengan komentator tanpa komentator. Kamera helikopter, kamera ombak. Udah kamera helikopter. Terus 30. Mandalika Sirkuit Motogp Internasional Lombok akan digelarkan hari ini pada pukul 12.30 waktu Indonesia Barat, guys. Superbike Mandalika Motogp International Circuit yang akan digelar hari ini di Lombok, Nusa Tenggara Barat pada pukul 12.30 waktu Indonesia Barat. Waktu Indonesia Tengah, mohon maaf. Oke, seperti yang Anda lihat di layar kaca. Ini adalah Pantai Kute, guys ya. Ini adalah pesertanya, guys, yang ganteng ini, guys ya. Mau dia wawancarain.
Yeah, you win just everything this weekend. Adesso hai cambiato questa è entrato un po' più lento, ma poi si è molto più forte. see of that lack of adhesion flag?
Yeah, certainly in the super sport class, we will start this race, and then it's up to the riders, if there is rain, to make their way back into the pits and then change tyres. There's a minimum time you have to spend in the pits, so in the super sport class, that's 1 minute and 18 seconds this weekend to make sure that you're able to make a safe change of tyres and then get back out there. So we will keep an eye on that over the course of the running now in the super sport class. 19 laps, that's a lot of time and a lot of opportunities for that rain to come down. There's very dark clouds over the paddock. They've spread their way down the racetrack, and they are going to probably in all likelihood give us a bit of a downpour in the next couple of hours.
Well, we've been saying it, we ordered it for the Superbike race just to try and keep that championship fight going for another day, but if it comes earlier than that, it's going to catch out Supersport. Wouldn't be the first time that we've had a big downpour in a Supersport race, would it? It looks very dark from the pictures from that camera angle in particular.
Yeah, you have to remember a camera lets in an awful lot more light than there's actually out there. It's 29 degrees right now, but walking over to the commentary box just before the start of this session feels a lot cooler out there. And certainly if we do have rain, we've had thunderstorms in the area in recent days, and even on Tuesday we had a massive downpour here as well. So it can get very wet very quickly in this kind of area, and for these Supersport riders, they're going to be really taking it careful now on their sighting lap.
Yes, already riders beginning to ease up and show caution. What's going to be a nervous start to race one here in Supersport. It's too early for any gambles though, or any bold decisions at this point. I think everyone's got to stick with what they're riding.
Yeah, they're all out there on the X tyre on the rear, the super soft compound rear tyre. Hannah Sumer, the only rider out there on the slightly harder front tyre. He's out there on an SC2 front tyre on the number 38 Yamaha. Everyone else out there on the same combinations, front and rear.
Reminder, if you're just joining us, the 2021 FIM Supersport World Championship already settled in favour of Dominic Egerter, the number 77, who lines up here from pole position. 68 points, an unassailable lead ahead of Stephen Odendahl. Odendahl hasn't yet settled down the silver medal, and Manuel Gonzalez directly behind him could move forward, but could still move backwards. He's got Jules Cluzel and Philip Ertl, both for company, tied on 241 points apiece. The final weekend of the 2021 campaign. We've also got the Teams Award in focus this afternoon. Lights out on race one, the first ever World Championship race here at the Mandalika International Circuit, and it's a decent start from Federico Caricasulo, who sweeps straight across. Manuel Gonzalez going backwards, De Rosa moving through. Into third position, it's Egerter, the pole sitter with the whole shot. Side by side in a battle for fourth position, Chan Onchu making one of his customary darts towards the front of the field. Onchu getting around the outside, but Manuel Gonzalez holding firm, and Gonzalez now on the attack, goes the long way round on Rafael De Rosa. That's a great effort from Gonzalez, gives himself the inside line. De Rosa manages to hold firm for P3. Egerter leads it, it's Caricasulo in his tyre tracks, it's Rafael De Rosa in third. Gonzalez P4, then Chan Onchu. Stephen Odendahl making good progress. Didn't get off to the best of starts to his weekend with an uninspiring Super Bowl performance, but he's doing well enough so far here. Randy Krumenacker 7th. Unai Radre bolting up at the front of the field. Caricasulo dive bombs Dominic Egerter in towards turn 10. It's one of the potential overtaking hotspots of this circuit. Caricasulo boldly making it his own.
Yeah, a couple of riders made bad starts. Philip Ertl, one of them from the third row of the grid. He lost about half a dozen spots on the run down in towards turn one. He's picked off another couple of riders. He's up into 11th spot. Jules Cluzel's only moved up one position from 13 to 12. He's actually just picked off Nicky Tooley as well at the back of that shot. So Cluzel up into 11th.
The group still staying largely together though. Cluzel, if he can get through in the first couple of laps towards the top 6 or so positions, might still be in contention. Here comes Manuel Gonzalez thinking about a manoeuvre on Dominic Egerter for second position. Onchu slams into the back of Rafa. He'd completely committed to a move there through turns 15 and 16. Settles himself. That might give Odendahl a run in here towards lap number 2. Odendal in the slipstream then of Chan on Chu as they head towards turn 1. The top 6 all covered by less than a second. Odendal has indeed capitalised on Chu's error there in the last sector of lap 1. Chu again out of shape, rattled completely as they head back into Odendal released now up into 5th position. Remember, he started 9th on the grid, and that's a fine early effort from Stephen Odendal.
Yeah, key overtaking opportunities around this track. Turn 1, turn 10, and then down the inside into turn 15 at the end of the lap. Turn 10, it's all about being able to stay close to the rider in front of you through these next couple of corners, try and set the move up into one of the heavier braking zones of the track.
2 biggest losers on the opening lap. Nick Tooley, who's dropped all the way down to 12th position, 6 places lost, and Randy Krumenacker, who did such a great job on Friday here at the Indonesian round, and he looked to have like the struggling here today so far. Struggling on lap 2 is Dominic Egerter, Manuel Gonzalez, Chan on Chu also now back through on Stephen Odendal, that's for 5th position, and Peter Sebastian also making good progress. And remember, that's important in the context of the team's award, because Evan Brothers have the most ground to make up of the 3 contenders.
Yeah, we've seen this a few times this season from the likes of Dominic Aguilar on the number 77 Tenkate Yamaha. Builds himself into the race in conditions like this especially. It's important not to take too many risks this early in the race with those spots of rain out there.
As I was talking about the team's award, you've got Tenkate 3rd, but you've got Chan on Chu in 5th position. Philip Ertl, though, his teammate, all the way down in 11th. But the Evan Brothers outfit looking pretty decent with 6th and 7th, particularly if they can move forward. But as I say, they've got 30 points to make up. Watching Rafael Rosseran in 4th. Chan in 5th. It's on Chu, who was the fastest man around last time on lap 2 at 1 minute 38.193. So he pushed perhaps a little bit too hard on the opening lap, Chan on Chu, but he's got the speed to try and take the fight to the leaders.
Yeah, the fastest times we've seen this weekend down in the 36s in the Super Sport class, so still plenty of ground to be able to make up for these riders, but obviously with those spots of rain, it is tricky out there.
Could be that Caricasulo's holding back the pack as well. Generally, Caricasulo has fared better in Super Pole sessions than he has in terms of race results. But he's out in front here. Hasn't been a race winner since Portimao 2019. Federico Caricasulo, the former world number 2, of course, is under a lot of pressure here from Manuel Gonzalez. Gonzalez ducks to the inside as they head in towards turn 10. He's later on the brakes as well if he gets it stopped here. Manuel Gonzalez, your new race leader. Caricasulo 2nd. On Chu comes firing into the shot and then fires out of it on the outside line, completely out of position, and De Rossa recovers P4. Gonzalez then heads the field. Caricasulo 2nd. Egerter biding his time. De Rossa and Onchu scrapping it out for 4th. Then it's the 2 Evan Brothers riders 6th and 7th.
Yeah, and for the 2 Evan Brothers bikes, Odendal and Peter Sebastian, they got to just try and make sure they're able to stay in this leading group. They've done a good job in this lap to peg back a couple of tenths of a second on the Kawasaki's in front of them.
Further back down the order, Jules Cluzel still stranded in 10th position. Did manage to get through on Randy Krumenacker, but Krumenacker got back past him now. They're all still one group though, all covered by 2 seconds. Look like they're tiptoeing around that turn 16. That's because it's the slowest corner on the circuit, but they're almost tripping over one another. That's how bunched in they are together.
Yeah, that was one of the sectors where we did have those spots of rain. Just worth giving the shout out as well to Uno Radre on the number 40 machine. He's doing a good job at the start of this race, running inside the top 8. Just seeing on the timing screen, there is more drops of rain in sector 4, so this is where we saw the riders really just taking it easy through that final couple of corners.
And look how dark it is around turns 1 and 2 as well. The open sector of the next lap, so it looks as though all the way down the start-finish straight, we've started to get some drops of rain. Looking just outside of our commentary box, but you daren't take your eyes off the action either. Manuel Gonzalez leads the way. Caricasulo 2nd. De Rossa through on Eggerter, who's dropped back. Nervous start to lap 4 for Dominic Eggerter, who's taking it easy here, and it's visibly showing him because through comes Chan On Chu now. So Eggerter's lost 2 positions in a matter of 2 sectors. Odendahl will be the next rider to try and swallow him up. Then it's Peter Sebastian, Jules Cluzel and Randy Krumnacher have both got through on Unai Radre at the start here on lap 4. De Rossa making progress, is now through on his fellow countryman Caracasulo for second, and there goes Odendahl. Move down the inside on the new world champion Dominic Eggerter. Eggerter going backwards here.
Yeah, and there is a lot of rain starting to fall now. We can see it outside of our commentary box window, and that's going to be all the way around the track pretty soon. You can see some of the riders taking it a little bit easier in some sectors. That's why we're seeing this gap start to stretch out, and certainly for Dominic Eggerter, our world champion, he took it a lot easier than some of the other riders there with those spots of rain.
First time you've seen a few drops of rain as well appearing on the, and it's Manuel Gonzalez who is trying to streak away. Get a clear air in front and behind of him. Federico Caracasulo beginning to drop back ever so slightly. Then it's Chan On Chu, but On Chu Odendahl for 5th. Confidence in the slippery condition. It's Peter Sebastian with dual-click problems for Odendahl. Think he might have missed a gear there coming off the final turn because he stopped basically right in front of his teammate Peter Sebastian. They both lost out to both Randy Krumnacher and Jules Cluzel. So a completely new order at the start of lap 5. Gonzalez, De Rossa, Caracasulo, On Chu, Eggerter, Krumnacher and Cluzel.
Yeah, you can see Hendrik Patama comes into the pits for Tankade. We also saw that it looked like Chris Bergman on the number 71 machine. Bergman lost a lot of positions on that last lap, so he's clearly just decided to come straight into the pits, make the change, see if it works out for him. Obviously, you know, the riders at the front of the field, if they're still able to get their knee down, there's still enough grip out there at this stage, but in the next couple of laps that grip is going to go away. Don't be too surprised if we see a few of the riders peel into the pits at the end of this lap.
A reminder along the bottom of your screen, there is a pit intervention time. That is the mandatory minimum time that a rider must spend in the pit lane if they come into the pits, and it's 1 minute 17, so 77 seconds. That is the required time just for safety purposes, but Galang Hendra Patama could be among the riders to gain the most. He's stranded down at the back of the field with Christopher Bergman, nothing to lose from that position anyway. You come in, if the weather gets worse, then you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, heads out on those intermediate tyres. That's going to be the tyre of choice for all these riders as it is right now, unless the rain comes down a lot heavier. They're about 8 seconds a lap off their fastest pace so far, so that does give a good indication of the changing conditions right now. We're definitely going to see these riders come in the next couple of laps. It's going to be interesting to see if anyone takes the punt initially. As it is right now, you're still in and around the same times that you might be able to do on that intermediate tyre. We did see though earlier in the season in the Superbike class, in particular in Aragon, you can make that intermediate tyre work in a very wide operating window. All the race leaders staying out for at least another lap
as they go side by side for second position, but you can see a big moment there for Federico Caracasulo as he went out and close to the curb, and Rafael De Rossa successfully defends position. Caracasulo's momentum is killed. On Chu's going to come through on him at the start of lap 6. Randy Krumnacher directly behind. The top 6 still covered by 2 seconds, but this is going to be pretty exciting stuff from here on in. That is almost guaranteed. That's why we said we quite fancied seeing a little bit of rain today, particularly for the Superbike race. According to our screen, Christopher Bergman has just exited pit lane, and Galang Hendra Patama as well, so that gives you an indication as to how much time they have lost as Manuel Gonzalez just defends the race lead now ahead of Rafael De Rossa. De Rossa, a rider who looks confident in these conditions, gained almost 0.3 of a second on Gonzalez last lap around. He's gained another 0.3 on this lap 6 so far, and De Rossa now is going to make the pass in towards turn 10. De Rosa much bolder on the brakes than Manuel Gonzalez, and he is your new race leader.
Yeah, Rafa with a lot of experience, and he always goes well in these changing conditions. Chu, though, he's the rider on the move right now. He was 2 seconds faster than Gonzalez last time around, 1.5 seconds faster than his fellow Kawasaki rider, Rafa De Rosa, as well. So he's going to try and close that gap. Krummenacher's done a good job to get himself back up into 4th. Just looking at the gap back to Hendrik Batama, he's about 90 seconds behind the race leader. He's just about to finish his lap, so a lot of ground to make up for Hendrik. But he is already on those intermediate tyres. We'll keep an eye on his sector times.
Randy Krummenacher squeezed out there by Chan Onchu. Onchu visibly being held back by Manuel Gonzalez. Not for much longer, although he sticks it out on the inside. Here comes Caricasulo trying to go the long way round. 4 riders in the mix here for second position. Gonzalez holding them up. Krummenacher faster than the pair of them. Finally gets released on Onchu. Onchu comes back through. Moves his elbow. Krummenacher's moved out of the way. Caricasulo comes back past. He was the rider who'd been relegated backwards by both Onchu and Krummenacher. Now Caricasulo thinks about a move to recover a provisional podium place. Rafael De Rosa's got 0.6 of a second advantage now over Manuel Gonzalez, who is visibly slower than the riders behind him. They are tripping over him. That is an opportunity for De Rosa, but if Manuel Gonzalez can pick up the pace quickly, he can defend that second place.
Yeah, and Gonzo's going to need to pick up that pace, because Onchu, the last couple of laps, he's pulled in 2.5 seconds on Gonzalez, and down in towards turn 10, that's where he's going to attack.
Peter Sebastian further back is one of the riders who has struggled the most since the weather conditions have deteriorated. He's dropped all the way down to 11th, and Uriah Radre has dropped behind him into P12.
Looking outside the commentary box window, it has stopped raining now.
Change of position for the lead. Manuel Gonzalez hits the front on Rafael De Rosa. So as the track conditions begin to settle down, as the wet weather eases up, it's Gonzalez who eases his way back to the front. He's got Kawasaki's directly behind him now. In De Rosa and Onchu. Has Onchu still got the speed? Has Onchu still got the answer? 1.1 seconds covering the top 6 at present. It's classic superbike stuff. It's classic supersport stuff, but in unusual and unconventional circumstances. First visit to this circuit, and it's immediately in the wet.
Yeah, Nukashul Cluzel at the back of this group. He's closed up again by another second last time around, so he is trying to get himself up from 9th position right back into this fight.
Chan Onchu, who tends to prefer the inside positions that looks like slightly uncomfortable, but he's made it work for him this time. He comes off turn 16 and fires past Rafael De Rosa. Round Krummenacher defending side, having picked off Federico Caricasulo for P4. Caricasulo now will have the momentum back into turn 1. Can he capitalise on it? Still see the droplets of water on the screen as they come towards lap number 8. And Caricasulo did sling it down the inside of Krummenacher.
Sorry guys, kena ban kayaknya nih guys. Tunggu. Salah klik ini guys. Waduh.
And Krummenacher is moved aside. Gonzalez again, your race leader. Onchu, though, looks faster than him and is looking for a move. It's Rafael De Rosa then in 3rd. It's Federico Caricasulo 4th. Randy Krummenacher is there. Odendahl back in the mix. Egerter's dropped all the way down to 7th. Tooley oscillating through the field. He's 8th. The top 9 riders now covered by 1.7 seconds as Onchu gets barged out of the way by De Rosa.
Yeah, last time Gonzalez went 4 seconds a lap faster, so as the rain is gone away, these guys are starting to increase their pace. You can see there for Odendahl runs wide. That's going to leave the door open for the riders to come through in the run down into 10.
Dominic Egerter and Nicky Tooley both up behind him as Odendal rejoined the racing line, and that's also fractured this lead group in two, because behind him he is holding up Jules Cluzel as well. 3 riders stuck behind him, and the 5 riders at the head of the field breaking clear. I think something like 6 tenths of a second now behind Randy Krumenacker, who sits in 5th. Rafaelino Rossa is your race leader again. How many times have we said the longest wait for a super sport race victory? Could it be today? We've asked that question so many times. For number 3, the answer's always been no so far. On struggling on lap 8. The drama of changing weather conditions is that a rider can scythe backwards and forwards through the field with incredible alacrity. This is Alanghendra Pratama. He's all the way down in 19th position, just running his own race. He's actually more or less on the pace of riders inside the points paying positions.
Bukan real life ini, langsung ini.
Sort of 14th, 15th place, but he's almost a lap down, you can see.
Yeah, and that's because the likes of Rafa de Rosa at the front of this field, he's now down into the 1 minute 41s, so he's finding a big jump in pace, and that's why he's been able to stretch out a couple of tenths of a second there in the lead. That looks like it's Takala that's gone down.
Yes, Verti Takala, the Finn, from 13th position, separated from his bike in the gravel trap.
Waduh,
the number 95.
Ini ada kecelakaan, guys.
Inside,
Kecelakaan ini.
as I say, the scoring positions looks out of contention now.
Yeah, we saw crashes here in the Asia Talent Cup race over the weekend.
Gambarnya nggak gerak. Oke. Bentar.
From running out onto the curbs. Obviously, the curbs very wet, and that's what Cax tackle out.
We saw that from Federico Caricasulo earlier on when he ran wide, coming off the final turn, touched the curb. He was under. .498 last time around. Federico Caricasulo 138.201, and it's Caricasulo in his first race weekend with VFT, showing that team's not bad at all, is it?
Yeah, what we see in the super sport class a lot is that a good rider can make up for a lot of shortcomings, and Caricasulo has been able to do that this weekend. This is the best we've seen from any of the VFT riders, but you do expect top riders to make that difference. Caricasulo, he's been able to do it for lots of different teams in the past, and it looks like he's given himself a real chance of being able to fight for a race victory.
As we've seen from Caricasulo, honestly, as well in 2021. That doesn't mean the best of campaigns for him. Did have a podium